Hey everybody, we're here for a new episode of Five for Talking. We're recap first round playoffs. Here's Cap, first round captain. I don't know what
Mhm.
that was, but hi, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Now we're gonna recap the first round of the playoffs here, and I'm gonna yell about Edmonton and how much they suck. So let me know in the comments that I'm wrong, and I will statistically prove to you how Tyler Seguin shouldn't have done anything. Um, Anywho, first round. What are your immediate thoughts?
Very entertaining. A lot of those series, a couple of series are like could be like finals, like Dallas and Colorado was like amazing. So we just
Define amazing.
amazing.
Okay.
Um, we just got off the heels of Game 7 between Winnipeg and St. Louis, so we got
Literally, it
Winnipeg
ended
advancing
7 minutes ago.
7 minutes ago. Um, I have thoughts about Toronto and Ottawa.
Okay.
Florida just dominated Tampa, in my opinion. Tampa was another one that we were talking
No,
about.
I thought it was going to be Tampa. You convinced me to pick Florida.
Yeah, yeah. This is a healthy Florida team, and this is a dangerous Florida team, and they're the team to beat in my eyes right now. So that'll be an interesting series between Toronto and Florida. Um, I don't have a prediction because Florida is just too damn good. Wink, wink. That's your prediction. That's pretty much a
I
prediction
have,
right there.
I have some. We'll talk about that in a second. But
But yeah, and then the last one is Carolina versus Washington. That's going to be a hell of a series too.
so I think
So,
coming out of the last round, I just want to, let's address the rounds, the games as we go. So you got Vegas versus the Oilers. We'll start in the West. Yeah, Vegas versus the Oilers. I personally still think, and this is like you can add to the haterade here. I just don't think Edmonton is a good team. I think Connor McDavid is a great hockey player. I think they still have the worst goalie in the whole NHL. I think their defense is mid at best. And unless Connor McDavid plays to 1,000% every game, there's nothing there that's going to win games for them.
uh, I don't dispute that. When I'm watching the LA versus Edmonton series, um, you're absolutely right in terms of Edmonton's goaltending and defense. But when I watch the game, Edmonton is just relentless in their attack. It doesn't matter if it's McDavid on the ice or Zach Hyman or I don't know who else they got.
Drysaitel. I forgot about
Drysdale and
Drysaitel. I forgot about Drysaitel. Okay, just
Drysdale,
forgive
and
me.
even Kane was really good in the series, especially towards the end of the series. But they
You probably
were
bet on the games.
they were relentless in their attack, and they just kept attacking, and that's how they won the games. So whether they were down to nothing, they would always find a way to get back and tie it up, and then kind of win
I
in
think that's a
overtime and
really
all that stuff.
common theme throughout this entire playoffs. Is that
No, that's
one team would
that's
be up for the majority of the game, and then the other team was like guaranteed they were like every game when I got to the third period of watching it, I knew the other team was coming back. Like as a sports better, it was really easy to make bets and win because you're like, okay, well Dallas is gonna tie it 2-2 and it's gonna go to overtime.
well, that was just it just happened tonight.
Yeah, literally, and I know it happened in every Leaf game.
Yeah,
What are we talking about here? That's
except for a couple.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's like a very was very common this playoffs. Like
Yeah.
Edmonton was down in every game they were down, they made like a little comeback. Or the Colorado Dallas was probably the most glaring one where someone always made a comeback in every game.
Entertaining series,
Um,
entertaining playoffs.
yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. Vegas, I think wins, but it's probably going to be a lot closer than I want it to be.
It's a tough one, man. I'm going to go with Vegas because of, like you said, Edmonton's defense and goaltending. I don't know how long Picard is gonna be able to keep this up. Um, and to me, Vegas is a much more complete team. So that'll be interesting to see. But I'm gonna have to agree. I'm gonna go with Vegas on this one.
And yeah, and it's not to say Edmonton doesn't have a chance at winning. I'm just being a jerk. They have a pretty good chance of winning. I just don't want them to win.
I
Um,
agree with everything you just said there.
it's so the next series will be Winnipeg and Dallas, and I have opinions on both here. So we'll start off with Dallas, who just beat Colorado. Um, you said amazing. I have other words to describe it. It was maybe the most entertaining of all the series, but it was absolutely the most sloppy hockey I've ever seen. And it wasn't just one game, it was for all 7 games, the absolute sloppiest hockey I've seen. It was just people falling, pucks passing the puck to nobody, turnover, 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 turnover. Like it was crazy. And to be honest with you, I don't know if it was the ice surface in a lot of the games, but it was like just like game 6 specifically was like hard to watch. How
Mm-hmm.
many like just people tripping over nothing.
I did say entertaining. I never,
Okay, you said amazing. He did say amazing. Let's
and
rewind the
amazing,
tape. It
amazing
was
series.
definitely the most entertaining series.
Yeah. Um, are we going to ask whether or not who we're going to choose between Winnipeg and
Well, yeah,
Dallas?
we are, but we're going to talk about Winnipeg first and how Connor
Yeah.
Hellebuck is arguably the worst playoff goalie of all time.
Um. Yeah. No. I mean, he had a bad playoff series, and he was not
He's had
playing
a
well.
bad playoff series every year for his career,
Yeah,
basically.
he actually was playing better in the third and the overtime periods. Granted, a lot of the play was in the St. Louis zone, but
Yeah, he did not get a lot of shots on net tonight as we're filming on Sunday. And I was
I think that was
talking to my
key
brother about
because
that.
yeah, that was key. But
Because he did give
wow,
up 3 goals
yeah,
in only 17 shots. So it's not like he was playing very well. He did get better. This is what I noticed in the overtime. Anytime someone was on kind of a breakout, there weren't like any breakaways, but it was like a 2-on-1 or someone was streaking down the wing.
yeah.
He would start like twitching, like he was getting nervous, like, oh my God, they're going to shoot the puck. They're going to shoot the puck type of thing. Like he wasn't like calm and composed. Like when you see Stolars, I'm going to talk a lot about Stolars today. But when you watch Stolars in the net and he's just literally not unfazed completely, he doesn't move, he doesn't look away, he's never distracted by anybody talking around him. He's so like zoned in on the game. Hellebuck was like I don't know what the hell he was doing.
Well, he looked like I said, he looked like he was getting a little bit of a swagger back in that overtime.
I agree, but he was
But
very
yeah, no,
nervous
he was
at
very
least in the
tentative.
early in the first overtime. In the second
Yeah,
overtime, he was like locked in, completely
yeah,
locked in.
he was tentative, and hopefully he could take what he did in this overtime and just bring it over to the next playoff series, and it'll be interesting to see because both teams are missing key players.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this recently, and it's statistically factual. So I mean, don't get hurt, don't get your feelings hurt, anybody out there. But like Hellebuck, for the type of goalie he is in the regular season, his entire career has been the opposite in the playoffs, and it's not negotiable. The numbers are there. He has like for a goalie that's been as high ranked as he has. I don't know this to be factually correct, but I'm sure you can look at it. For a goalie who's won as many awards in his games in his career and is considered as upper echelon as he is, he probably has the worst save percentage of any of those goalies in the playoffs.
I don't have the numbers in front of me,
Yeah,
so
we
I
don't.
can't
We're not. So I'm
do
just
anything.
that's
So
you can look it up yourselves,
um,
but I would imagine he's definitely in the upper tier of worst save percentages and top goalies of all
I
time.
just remember, he had a really good playoff series with when Paul Maurice was there. I think it wasn't probably the last time, maybe the second last time. But other than that, you're right. He's been of a bit of a letdown.
Yeah, I mean,
So
it's like Frederick Anderson, right? Frederick Anderson always gets to the playoffs and then finds some way to let you down. Um, and Frederick Anderson's been to the playoffs a lot in his career.
yeah,
The But either way, I think if they don't win the cup, Winnipeg. I know that the voting for Vesna already is like done and it's like regular season, but I think there should be some kind of factor. Like him playing as bad as he has in the playoffs, he shouldn't be given the best goalie of the year award. Like it just seems off to me. Anyways, we won't dwell on
conversation for
that.
another day.
I think I was completely opposite coming into the playoffs. I say Dallas in 7.
Um, it'll be interesting to see if they can get more Morrissey and Shifley back. That kind of might change my pick a little bit, but as of right now, I'm probably going to have to go with Dallas, even though Dallas is missing a couple players as well.
Well,
But I
Dallas.
thought,
Sorry, go.
no, please go ahead.
I think like what you were saying about Edmonton, Dallas's offense is like on another level. It's something that like most teams can't even handle, right? And Ottinger is
Yeah,
a goalie equally on the level of Connor Hellebuck.
yeah, no, I agree. But if Winnipeg can do what they did in those two overtime periods to Dallas, Winnipeg's got a shot
Oh,
because
for
they
sure.
limited their
I
competition. Yeah,
said 7 games, so that means
yeah.
like it's
It's
not
gonna
cut and
be
dry.
it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Uh,
I don't think Jason Robertson comes back at all. I think he's gone.
it's possible,
Um,
yeah.
but
I mean, yeah,
Rantanen,
injuries are going to play a factor too.
yeah,
So
and probably fatigue as well because both of those series went the distance. But Rantanen just was lights out last game.
I mean, I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was saying, don't you find it like kind of odd? Like, and you can blame the team or whatever, but he was lights out in Colorado, went to Carolina, did absolutely nothing in the entire time he was there, then got to Dallas and became a superstar again. Like, does that not seem like maybe he just didn't want to play in Carolina? Like he just was not trying at all?
I'm not sure. Maybe it was that, or just not fitting into the Rob Brindamore system. I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe chemistry with other players. Yeah, it's hard to
Colorado's
dispute.
definitely upset about that. He lit them up. He got like 11 points.
I'm sure he's so happy about that.
All right, let's move on to the East. Washington and Carolina.
That'll be an interesting series.
I
You know,
think
yeah, go.
Washington versus Montreal. Washington had a couple little hiccups in the road, but generally were the far better team. Like
Yeah,
it was probably the only series outside of Florida versus Tampa Bay where it was really just cut and dry who was the better team. Because like
Montreal
Ottawa
had their
against the Leafs
moments.
put up a good fight.
Yeah, Montreal had their moments, but Washington is the better team, and I'm going to take Washington on this one.
I am okay, and just to look at Carolina, I think New Jersey kind of just beat themselves. They also didn't have Hughes, so I mean, you can't really look too deep into that. But I do think Washington will beat Carolina. Probably like it might go the distance, but I would say like 6.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Leafs and the Panthers. I think the Leafs played excellent in the games that they won, and they looked a little bit shaky in the 2 games they lost, but they still weren't like garbage. You know what I mean?
They didn't panic.
They don't look like the Leafs of every year before this.
Yeah, they definitely didn't let the outside noise affect them in that game 6. So they stuck to their plan and they were calm and they just played their game and they were able to close them out. I had doubts, probably just like any other Leaf fan, but they were able to get it done, and this will be the true test. Um, yeah,
This is the test. This is
this is
the
the test.
test. This is the test for me for all 4 of these teams in the East. This is literally the test.
Yeah,
Can you beat this team? Because if Washington beats Carolina and gets Florida or the Leafs, that's the next level of test. And it works for all 4 of these teams, no matter who wins to face the next team. I don't think I don't think any Western Conference team at this point, just judging on how I've been watching the games, has a real shot at winning the cup over one of those Eastern teams. I think all 4 Eastern teams have a better shot of winning than any Western Conference team.
um,
Maybe
Dallas,
Carolina,
Dallas, maybe.
but maybe I don't think Dallas against Florida looks like a good time for Dallas. I'm going to be honest with you, or that
Yeah,
Dallas team currently against the healthy Leafs roster, I don't think looks very good either. Even Washington.
Yeah, it'll be interesting what comes after this series and who comes out on top. But if we're making a prediction here, I'm gonna go Florida in six.
I'm gonna go Florida in 7. I absolutely regret all of the decisions we made on that tier list, and I don't know if we ended up with Washington. I think Florida's going back to back.
Well, I mean, at one point in that video, you did say if Florida is healthy, Florida goes to the finals.
Yeah.
So we did touch on that
Well,
point.
when we did the video, they announced all of the injuries coming back literally the day of the game.
Yeah, like nothing was confirmed and nothing was announced, but we knew and we talked about it as well that Paul Maurice was resting a lot of his guys. So we kind of, we um, kind of thought that they were going to come back as a fully healthy team. Maybe Kachuk is not 100%. Who knows? I mean, Brady Kachuk just announced that he wasn't 100%, but um, Florida doesn't.
Can we just talk
Florida's
about
yeah,
like
Florida's just like really too good.
what a
Bobrovsky,
scumbag Matthew
Bobrovsky is like
Kachuk
one of the
is?
hotter goalies in the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure.
He's a playoff goalie.
Kachuk is a straight up absolute goon, and the fact that you have him and Marchand on the same team is crazy.
Well, you got Bennett on there too,
Yeah,
so
it's
you know.
crazy, man. And it's like I can't deny it because if I was a fan of that team and they were doing that for me in the playoffs, I wish someone on the Leafs would just goon up and just crunch somebody on the other team, just like take
and,
out
and
Barkov's legs.
and that would be key because Leafs are going to have to push back. They got to be physical.
This is the test for the Leafs. This is the
This is the
test.
test.
If the Leafs
Um,
can beat Florida, they can beat Washington or Carolina.
yeah, no, I absolutely agree. But anyway, we'll move on, I guess.
Well, I don't have anything else, so that's all you at this point.
Um, no, I really don't have anything else. Any surprises for you?
LA losing, especially when they were so dominant in the first 2 games of the series.
Yeah.
I thought
Um,
that was going to be, I'm not even being sarcastic. I thought that was going to be a 4-0 series. Not going in, but once I saw the way that it was, I was like, oh, it's over. It's already over.
uh, that was a surprise. I think another surprise for me was the Tampa, Florida not going the distance.
Yeah. Also, St. Louis. They were so sad tonight watching them, and I was like, you guys shouldn't even be sad. You didn't even deserve to make the playoffs, and you did this well against Winnipeg. That's crazy.
Dude, they went on a 13 game winning streak. They were one of the hottest teams in the
Yeah,
NHL going
that's what
towards
I'm
the end
saying.
of
Look at the way they
like
finished the season. Like it was unexpected. It was if you watched them prior to the All Star break, you would have been like, they don't deserve to be in the playoffs.
absolutely. And then they went on that tear. So they got in and yeah, but um yeah, just kind of disappointed in Tampa.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, other than that, I think it was pretty baseline. Like we didn't have any issues guessing who was going to win the East. My only issue in the East was like, is Florida going to be healthy? And if they're not, Tampa Bay will win.
Yeah. I uh I foresee the second round just being as good as the first round. This has been a hell of a series, and that's pretty much all I got to say about this.
I think you're probably going to get 3 game 7s, and the Washington series will go 6. I think all the other series will go 7.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, guys, thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments and tell us that we're wrong. Goodbye.